Welcome to another episode of my podcast. That's fine with me. Today we're going to be talking about gossip and why are we so invested and interested in gossip. For example, I'm going to read a couple of clickbaits or thumbnails that spark my interest. I'm sick of this horror, and this was the name of Anna Oop channel. Lake is lying, more lies, smoking gun for Justin. This was a Popcorn Planet. And there's so many more other thumbnails and clickbaits where you can find a lot of information about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively case and Ryan Reynolds, as well as Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, and Hailey Bieber. It is all over the internet, and basically, this is gossip. Of course, media is trained to present you this gossip, and we're gratefully taking this information, digesting, and sharing this with our family members or with our friends, which is normal and it's pretty typical. So let's get back to ancient times when we had only tribes and we didn't have any civilization. We just had some certain community where men they hunted and they went away for a long period of time to find some hunt and prey, and women were left alone. And of course, they needed to gather around and talk about something. Of course, most of the time it was about their community, about people from this community. They could talk about their men and their children, about neighbors. Of course, the gathering wasn't always in one tribe, it could be separated into small groups where people discussed each other. So it's going back to some ancient time, and this was a mechanism to survive and coping mechanism, I would say. The main reason why we still have it from ancient times is not to survive, but to keep that interest going. And there are so many different reasons behind this gossips. We're going to talk about this later, and psychiatrists, psychologists are talking about this. For now, this is just primarily was a safe mechanism to survive. And you know that you can approve or disapprove gossiping itself, but definitely willingly or maybe unwillingly, you're taking part in it. How? You can be an active listener, you can be an active participant and talk about someone, or maybe you see some gossip over internet, media, social media, with your colleagues, even with your friends and family members, you might not like someone. Gossip primarily is something when you're talking mean and disapproving someone behind their backs when the third party or third person is not present. And you're bonding over the topic where you're discussing someone who's not present at the moment. And I want to cite someone. This is Laurent Biga, Baggy, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to share this over my screen. So, about 60% of conversations among adults are about someone not present. Most of it is judgmental, or most of it is judgment. And it's true. I mean, let me give you a great example. My mom, my husband, my cousin, and her husband, we were sitting in the same room. And before this gathering, my cousin asked me to give her a password to Netflix. I am from Russia, and when we had access to Netflix, my husband and I, we paid for the subscription. And I remember when my cousin asked for this password, she said, I'm going to use it only once because I can't find my favorite series anywhere else, and I need your subscription. I promise I'm going to use it only once. And I didn't really care about this. I said, like, okay, just like use it. I don't really care. And in a couple of months, I realized that they were using, I mean, my cousin and her husband, they were using my subscription pretty much often because she watched one series and another one and she shared this and maybe she forgot about that. But this is not the point. I don't really care. The point when we gathered together a few months later, my mom, she was washing dishes and we were just together around the table. We were talking and she was witnessing, my mom was witnessing this whole situation. My cousin was quiet, but her husband, he was very disapproving the fact that someone is paying for subscriptions. He's like, oh, there's so many different sources out there. They're super, super inexpensive or for free. Why do you need to pay for something that expensive as Netflix? And he was harshly criticizing our decision to pay for the subscription. And my husband, he didn't get it. And he confronted my cousin's husband, though they're really good buddies and they're friends most of the time. But my husband, he pissed off because he was paying for the subscription. And he was like, then why do you use our subscription and you're watching some series if you can use free sources, but you're using our subscription? And, it's a little bit hypocritical. And he went quiet. My cousin didn't get into this fight. I was pretty quiet there as well. And then when they left, I mean, my cousin and her husband, when they left, of course, we had a discussion. So this is gossiping. I totally get it. Though my husband confronted him, but still, we were gossiping. And my mom, she completely and totally supported my husband and me. And she said they could have, donated at least half of it, or maybe just suggest that they pay half the price if they still use the password. But they didn't actually suggest it. And they kept on using subscription. Funny to say, but when we had this small fight, I realized that a couple months later, when the whole situation with war and sanctions and canceling, I guess, thing with Russians happened, my cousin, she reached out and said, like, hey, is the subscription canceled? Is it a problem with the payment? Something like this, because we can pay for the subscription. And it said, yeah, because of the war situation and the card is not processing, we can't pay. And she's like, yeah, yeah, I understand that. But she actually reached out and she asked. So she was trying to get access to my Netflix subscription, but she couldn't. And that was the main reason why she asked me. And again, we start conversation. My mom and I, we were talking, and my mom was like, "Okay, it's so weird because first of all, you're criticizing, and then you, after even the fight, still watching the subscription, and then you could have contributed in this subscription. You could have paid at least some money for this subscription." And I guess this was hypocritical when you criticize someone and then you use something that another party is paying for. And yeah, it's not the point. The point here that we were gossiping. And the main idea about the gossip that you're not only talking mean things about the third party, you're talking about some mistreatment and when someone did wrong to you. This is the main thing. This is a frustration and you're sharing with the second party and you're talking about this. This is the main thing of a gossip, to share some unfairness that you faced. And this is the main thing that helps people to go through life and have someone that they are great friends with. I would say that most of the time, people are bonding about mistreatment. They're not praising and talking positively about someone. Yeah, you do, but the main, I guess, topic of conversation is mostly about someone to disapprove or something that you don't like about someone else. It's just the way of gossiping. Or you can gossip about some celebrities. You can talk about, for example, do you remember the Will Smith punch in the face and also about some Oscars? I remember talking to my mom's neighbor and she was heavily supporting Will Smith with his punch. I was not super supportive. And again, it's still a way of gossiping because this was a fight and we were disapproving or approving on certain points. That is the main reason why I guess we just share similar sense of humor or similar values. And if you can bond with someone with similar values, great. But if you can't, then you're probably not going to be friends. I would say that another reason for gossip to be that popular is when you say, don't tell anyone, don't tell us all, and I trust you with my secret. This way, when you're talking to someone, you're giving him or her a sense of trust. I trust you with my secret. And the other person can feel like he or she is special to you because you're trusting with a secret. And another way is that you're expecting in return from this person or your friend to share the same secrets with you and to be a special person to them. This is another way to look at the gossip. So they're just like, you're in my inner circle and I trust you with all my secrets and with all this information. Because all of you know that information is power. And we're going to talk about Harvey Weinstein, not about his case and not about Me Too movement, but when this woman from the Me Too movement had this information about SH and she accused Harvey Weinstein in the whole situation. She held a lot of information and she held power against this man. And then when he was imprisoned, she used this power and I guess not even a gossip, but she could use it in her in some inner circles. She was gossiping about that. And maybe someone hinged her to get the process going and to start this, let's say, conversation, to start this Me Too movement because it was really handy for someone. And this small gossip that started with someone in the kitchen, probably in the kitchen, turned into a Me Too movement. This is a power of gossip and this is a power of information, as well as I'd say Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They were a power couple, and for a long period of time, they used some excuses to their plantation wedding, and they donated a lot of money to some charity to forget about this case. But one movie changed it all. I mean, if we see the dynamic in this relationship now, it's not that powerful as it used to be. Though Blake Lively and her PR team accused Justin Baldoni in the smear campaign, from some messages, we can tell that she brought it to herself. And a lot of TikTokers, a lot of people from social media, they've noticed that Justin was isolated from the red carpet, and they, of course, started speculating. And the gossip was, brewing among the social media society. And why internet is so powerful as a tool for gossip, because you get just a comment section and you can give the wildest guesses about certain situations. And Blake, she accused Justin in the smear campaign because she believed that he orchestrated this behind the back. But honestly, it was some small mistreatment under after another one and another one and another one when everyone realized that maybe the problem wasn't in Justin, it was in Blake Lively and the way she was promoting this film. And she didn't even understand that it was her fault, that all of this happened to her because of her ignorance to this whole situation, this whole mess. I would say Justin Baldoni, he genuinely shared all of this text that were corrected by Blake Lively and her PR team when they released it to New York Times. And honestly, I didn't get any information and any vibes from Justin Baldoni to share some private information and to accuse Blake on anything. This was her decision from the beginning to share some information with New York Times and with other sources. And later, when Justin was defending himself and saying things, the gossip that started a long time before actually turned against Blake again because people were seeing this mistreatment and this misjudgment against Justin. And of course, some more rumors they started swirling around. And now we're going to the most important part, I guess, of gossip is internet and the clickbait that I discussed right at the beginning of my podcast. When I talked about the smear campaign or clickbait and some information like, I'm sick of this woman or like Blake is lying and more lies. All of it coming from other TikTokers or YouTubers. And I can blame myself for having such interest in gossip as well. And then I talk to my friends and family members about the gossip that I see from the internet because people know that it sells. I mean, scandals, they do sell. As well as this toxic relationship between Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, and Selena Gomez, it still sells for three of them because people are invested and interested in drama, genuinely interested in drama. This is a way to bond against someone. If you don't really have spicy life or juicy relationship and you live in a pretty simple world, let's say, then when you watch some drama over internet, you can bond against someone. Or maybe you can bond with your family and you know that you're not going to disapprove, I don't know, your fans, or it's not going to leak anywhere else but your family. And even if it's going to leak, no one cares about Selena, Justin, and Hailey Bieber in real life. It's just the way to talk about something and then just move on. I'd say gossip doesn't have to be personal, not always. I would say I know a lot of different influencers and scandal channels, I would say drama channels and tea spills channels that would talk about influencers I've never seen before. Honestly, there's just influencer insanity, or this influencer went so far and this influencer crossed the line. Honestly, not even knowing this influencer, I would click and watch what was that edgy and crazy about this person. It's just the genuine interest in drama. Because sometimes we just want to talk about some crazy person and we want to judge. That's in our nature. And if you want to deny it, that's fine. You might not be a gossipy person, but you might actually listen a lot. And internet is a great provider because you're safe there and you're not going to be exposed with this power mode and information. If you create an account that has no name, you can go in a comment section and leave your opinion, and there are going to be thousands of other people sharing their own thoughts. You can actually gossip in internet with strangers. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes it brings you to some fan communities, like they have a fan group base devoted to Selena Gomez or maybe Justin Bieber or Blake Lively, and then you go to the comment section and you have some gatherings and you bond based on your preferences and based on someone's drama, which is super super cool and interesting. And gossip is a huge part of the life that you can skip. I know that sometimes I'm too invested in some drama, and sometimes I just want to take a break, I guess, and don't really care about someone's drama and someone's channel. But algorithm, they're trained so well to give you this spicy note again and again and again. So sometimes when I don't really want to get involved in any more drama, the algorithm is bringing me a clickbait, this clickbait thumbnail, like, oh, another scandal with Ryan Reynolds, or Ryan Reynolds made his daughter to say scandalous things or say some nasty words, or I don't know, he's a bad parent or something like this. And you're like, why is he a bad parent? Or what did he make his daughter to say? Or something like this is just going to catch your attention. Even if you don't really want to participate in this drama or you're not going to even live any comments, sometimes you're so invested, you don't really understand how someone can do such a twisted thing and to the daughter or like any child. And that is the main reason why you're gonna clickbait and you're gonna watch the video. And again, they're gonna be another clickbait and another gossip. Of course, I understand that not every single person is invested in this type of thing, but when you get some information about a celebrity that went beyond some decency and morality, for example, Ariana Grande, do you remember the thing when she licked a donut and she was caught on camera? Well, that was a huge scandal, and that was the main reason why it just blew up out of proportion. As well as Justin Baldoni, he just shared some text messages, and people were not only invested in this drama with like Lively and Ryan Reynolds, but when he leaked some information about Taylor Swift that she was partially invested in this whole business, that caught a little bit different attention of some other people who were huge fans of Taylor Swift and believed that she had nothing to do with drama at all. And that is the main reason why sometimes we just have the crash of our idols like Ryan Reynolds, if you really like his films and you like his persona as well as Blake Lively, and then you see that they were twisted and manipulative people all this time, you need this gossip to get on going and this comments to get on going. Though when you understand that you hold this power against someone to destroy with information and with gossip, and you don't even need to do a lot. You can just see this in some drama channels and maybe just quickly, anonymously give this information to some channels. Believe it or not, they're just going to cover it for sure. You can destroy people's life. And it is really hard to get the tarnished reputation back, especially for the plantation wedding. It worked for Blake Lively and her husband. But I guess today, in today's scandal with Justin Baldoni, and it's still pretty much alive, I think they bury themselves pretty deep. Of course, they still have some connections, and of course, they have a lot of power and money. But I mean, how long are they gonna last with maybe some ruined reputation and people that don't really want to associate with this reputation any longer because people are not happy with their image and they're not happy with some deeds they performed. That is the main reason why other celebrities that don't really want to get involved in the scandal. They're super loyal people like Hugh Jackman. I don't really understand what's there. Maybe they have some contract with for some new series in Deadpool. That's why he's supporting those behavior. I don't know. But it is interesting that gossip is a huge part of the life. And even if you don't want to admit this, still you're gossiping sometimes and you just discussing someone's behavior, even your relatives. You might not like your relatives and you might actually gossip behind their backs. Or not even behind their backs, but just you might disapprove some acts that they performed and maybe sometimes they act out and you just disapprove. You might confront them, but at the same time, there's still going to be a lot going on behind their backs. I know that my relatives, not my relatives, but my husband's relatives, they have a lot of opinion. They have a lot of things to say about me behind my back, but sometimes they're a little bit stupid. Some people, they're a little bit stupid, I would say, because they're sharing their opinion with my husband. And my husband is telling everything to me. So I actually know what they think about me behind my back. And that's why I'm not having this. And that is the reason why I'm a little bit angry with them. But I guess they don't really know that my husband shares everything with me. And I share everything with my husband. That is the main reason why I don't really have secrets from my husband. And I don't really talk shit about my husband behind his back because any issues we have, we try to resolve together. And that's the key for our relationship. We're going to be celebrating 14th anniversary this summer. That's why I'm pretty much positive that if we have some issues, we try to talk about this and resolve them, not behind the backs, but directly talking about this in their faces. So that's it, guys. Don't be extremely critical. And if you have some issues with someone, just talk straightforward. I understand that we're still going to be gossiping, but if it's someone crucial in your life and you know that your secret is not going to be safe, I mean, my husband's relatives, they think that they're sharing their secret about me with him and he's going to keep it. But I'm the closest person right now to him. I mean, like, I'm his wife, and it should be the closest person in life that you share your story and some problems with. That is the main reason why I know that if I give some secret to my husband, he's going to keep it really, really tight. That's in security. But I know that if someone tells a secret to my husband, I'm the closest person to him and he's going to share it with me. So, yeah, don't share some secrets with my husband if you don't want me to know about the secrets because he's definitely going to gossip about that with me because, like, yeah, we are the union and I know that I'm in his trust circle and he knows that he's in my trust circle as well. That's why we're gossiping, you know. Yeah, we're the family. I guess I'm going to see you in my next podcast. That's fine with me, guys. Let me know in the comments what do you think about gossip. And I'm pretty much sure that you gossip with your friends or family members, which is normal. We discovered that. It's normal to be mean sometimes and disapprove someone. I love you all so much, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye bye.